Friday, the final day of the week. These are the voyages of the program Unsportsmanlike Conduct. Its ongoing mission to explore strange new movies, to seek out new bits and new edifications, to boldly go where no radio program has gone before. Elkent's Movie Club. It's Elkent's Movie Club. Elkent's Movie Club. It's Elkent's Movie Club.
It is Elkent's Movie Club. We are live right now on Program TV, perhaps the worst edition of Program TV ever. Not because of the movie, no, and not because of you, but because our systems, our computers are crawling right now because we are on our bad Wi-Fi. So apologies for anyone who's trying to watch it. Hopefully Kent can at least hear us. Kent, can you hear us?
I can hear you. You look fine. Look, going all right now.
Okay, good, because you've been frozen for me for like 5 minutes, so I'm happy that it's working okay as we get the movie club going. Today, in honor of Nick's first time as our full-time producer now, well, I guess second time because last week was the first time, but he picked the movie this week, The Fast and the Furious. So Nick, as we always do, the person who picks gets to explain the plot of the film. How would you describe?
You have 45 seconds.
Yeah, 45 seconds. What is the plot? I don't know, man. I think we give him 15 seconds. We give him a Rick Pitino, and I think things are going to be okay. Tell us about The Fast and the Furious.
Paul Walker is an undercover LA cop trying to make detective, so he tries to do it by infiltrating the local street racing scene because they're stealing DVD players. Very of the time. They're DVD player combination movie things. He gets in there, and he finds out that they're doing it. And then the FBI comes in, and then he finds out that they're his friends. But no, they're not his friends. They're his family, Mi Familia. That's The Fast and the Furious.
That's The Fast and the Furious.
There's a lot of cars and
I don't have
girls.
Ken, here's my question for you to begin our conversation. How in the world did this movie kick off a series that has become the cultural force that it has? Because watching it last night, it really did not make a whole lot of sense that this begat now, 9 movies, 10 movies, a spin-off in Hobbs and Shaw. I don't really understand it. How did this happen?
How does this happen? It made a lot of money. That's how it happened. And it was, as I recall, one of those perfectly timed kind of pictures that it came out where there wasn't a lot of similar competition. Remember, it's a 2001 movie, so it was before the superhero movies became a big deal. It was before you had all these, your Star Wars franchises coming out, right? So this was the kind of sort of summer action movie that was, could hit back then, and it hit. And it's not a great movie by any stretch of the imagination. I looked up what I wrote about it before, back when it came out, and the phrase I used was paper thin but action packed. And
good way to describe it.
And and that really is, that hit. People liked it, and then the second one made a lot of money, and then you're on the way because forgot. It plays internationally. And this was at a time, once again, before the Marvel, these movies, the classic example is Jerry Bruckheimer movies, right? They make almost no sense, but they're easily translated from country to country. There's not a cultural thing to hold them back. So it's going to make a ton of money in China and in, Australia and England and all over the world, where a more American-centric movie wouldn't do that kind of business. And this was all about making money. And it did.
Nick, why, in all seriousness, you picked this movie. What was the draw to it besides trolling John?
I do think it's culturally, what was the word other John said yesterday, culturally significant.
Uh-huh.
I do think there is a cultural significance to it because we're 20 years in, there's 10 movies or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And this movie, I was a kid when I saw it,
Yep.
made me interested in cars.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm kind of a car guy. I know so many other people who are car guys because of these movies. Yeah, they're stupid and it's not a good movie. Did not age well, very problematic in a lot of parts.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a reason I think that it had the staying power it did. It had like that kind of sense of imagination. Like we were kids in like my generation, my age, like we'd see that and then we're like, I want to be that. And then we could just play Need for Speed or something because we had games like that would directly came because of that. And it was just perfect timing, I think.
Yeah, it's funny, Kent. There are the types of movies, right, where you go to the theater and you see it and you leave and you want to do whatever was in that movie. And there's not a lot of those types of examples, but I remember seeing this and it's like, I want to get in a car and drive really, really fast. And I was 13, 14 when it came out, so I couldn't even drive. But it did. I mean, even last night as I'm watching it, I agree with you. It's not a great movie, but it does give you an adrenaline rush at times. And it did remind me, like, I used to love this movie. I watched it a few times as a kid. I watched the second one. I haven't seen any of the other ones, but I do remember really, really liking it. And for a while being like, maybe I could be a car guy. And it just never really took.
Well, I think that's a large part of its success is that was the audience. It was the under 20 and under guys audience, right? That was the action movie audience, and it connected. The other thing that you got to give it, and I think this is kind of what helped it, I wouldn't say that they're great actors, but this was a pretty well acted movie in the sense of they all projected something. And they were, Vin Diesel has played the same guy however many times he's been on film. But this was the first time that he was at least, a top billed guy. And he was good for being Vin Diesel. And Walker, I think, could have had a decent career if he died in a car accident, which is, there's some, I don't know what, irony isn't the right word, but there's something to that. And Michelle Rodriguez was coming in off of this movie Girl Fight, which I would highly recommend if you want to see a good sort of gritty boxing movie. She plays a boxer in this and it's real good. And she came in after that. And at the time, she was kind of seen as somebody who might turn out to really have a bigger career than she ended up doing. But between those three, you had sort of three young, promising actors who are, if nothing else, are charismatic in the movie. And that helps it as well, even though they weren't really given much to do, because this plot is as old as the day is long. You've seen it 68 different times. A key, by the way, I'm sort of blathering on here, but a key to judging a movie that you can judge in 10 seconds is if they run the credits before the movie, which a lot of times they don't now, but it used to be the credits were first thing that ran. You see 3 names as the writers, and one of those names isn't the director's name. That means you got 4 writers working on this movie. 4 writers, movie's gonna stink 100% of the time.
Stibbs, do you have anything to add about the Fast and the Furious?
No, I didn't watch it again because I didn't want to. But I did.
How's that different than before?
Before I forgot. This time I was informed and made the decision. No, I'm not going to waste my time. I mean, I saw it long ago. Like Josh, I saw it multiple times probably when I was younger. I was telling him earlier, it's been on TV a lot lately. So like it came on after something I was watching. So I did see one scene of it the other day when they were trying to break into a garage and Paul Walker and Vin Diesel had to scurry because the garage doors opened and these dudes in motorcycles came in.
Yes.
So that's the scene.
That's the scene you watched.
Pretty cool scene. But as far as the cultural impact is concerned, you brought up Paul Walker's death, and when that happened, I mean, that was a huge deal, and you can credit a lot of that as far as how far it reached into the public to these movies. He didn't really do a whole lot of other stuff back then. When this one was made, he was in some like teen comedies and some romantic stuff as like the heartthrob here and there, but this is what made him. And I remember, was it the seventh one? I didn't see it, but is it the seventh one that they kind of said goodbye to him in?
Yeah.
They had that scene of him driving
And
off.
did he?
Yeah.
Oh, so did he die in that movie?
He
or-
died while they were filming it. Then they used his brother as a body double.
Oh,
but then
okay.
They did this
deep
thing
faked
where,
his face.
yeah,
along with his
where he
brother.
like drove off separate ways. And I remember seeing just that one scene.
Yeah.
I
and
cried
that was,
when I saw
I was
it.
going to say that was everywhere. And I'm sure that movie wasn't very good either.
It wasn't.
Most of them aren't. But a lot of people went to see that movie just for that like 30-second scene because of the impact that these movies and he had on the general public, which is it's an amazing thing to say for a franchise of movies that everyone just kind of agrees is like, yeah, it's pretty dumb, but we're all going to go see it and talk about it.
See, and that's the thing that
Mhm.
as I watched it again, Ken, I kind of started out that conversation by asking about like, how did this happen? How did this franchise become what it has? Because I'll be honest, I don't know anyone who likes these movies. I don't know anyone who is like, oh, sweet, F9, or like last year when it got delayed. Like that was one of the first big movies that got pushed back because of the pandemic. And I just didn't know anybody who was genuinely affected by that. And yet, of course, it prints money. The series prints money. And the one that you guys were just talking about with Paul Walker, I remember that reaction, and people were like crying at the movie. And so it's like it's a very interesting series. It's kind of like a CBS show where it's like, I know there's millions of people watching it,
Yeah.
but I don't know anybody
any of
that's
them.
watching NCIS.
Yeah.
And I know they're dumb. I don't watch them because it's the
Yeah.
pinnacle of art. I think I like them because they are dumb. And every movie it gets more ridiculous. You were talking about Fast and the Furious 4 off the air earlier.
Mhm.
It starts with a prison break, like off of a prison bus, and they just keep amping it up and amping it up. In 7, they jump through Dubai, like they drive expensive cars through
Yeah, I've seen
towers
like
in
in
Dubai.
previews where they're driving.
Which was the one they dropped out of the plane?
Yeah, on the
Nah,
plane,
That
like-
was 7. They did that.
That's
in
what
7
I
also.
would
They
do.
did so much.
You
Which
know,
I think that's part of the reason a lot of people end up going to these. It's like you said, I know people who don't necessarily like them, but go and see them for that reason because they'll see something in the preview. They'll be like, they're gonna jump out of a plane, like that's incredible.
Yeah.
And like
From-
they're a fan of The Rock, so they're gonna be like, I want to go see The Rock drive a car out of a plane. Like,
From a
and that's
music
worth
standpoint-
$15 to them.
From a music standpoint too, I think there's a lot of artists that benefited a lot just from being at Ludacris. Ludacris, I feel like, did really well in part because of these movies
Yeah.
too, because he was in
He
in them,
Yeah.
but a lot of his songs were featured in them as well.
Honestly, Josh, one of the reasons I didn't like get into things like the Marvel Cinematic Universe and all this
Mhm.
stuff is because I equate a lot of those things that continue to go on and print money to these types of movies.
Yeah.
Because for a long time, that's all those really were.
Sure.
The Marvel movies are kind of an outlier in that it is a thing that continues to print money, and you kind of get annoyed because they keep making them out, but they're actually good because
Yeah.
they have good people working on them, and they've got Disney probably behind
Yeah.
it and whatever else. That's a big reason why I never got into that stuff, because I just assumed it was all a ploy of jumping out of planes and whatever else to get people to just go spend a bunch of money on a horrible movie.
Yeah, Kent, since Stibbs decided to quit on us like a jerk, he's watched all of the Marvel movies except for like 2, and he loves them.
They're pretty good.
that's
Oh, that is
classic.
that's,
I haven't seen Black Widow yet.
Um,
Yeah.
oh,
it's
I thought-
okay.
Yeah,
That's what I've heard. I'll watch it.
it's fine.
I like
Um,
ScarJo, and I like Plu. How do you say her last name? Is it Plu? The girl from Midsommar.
Midsommar. Oh,
Yeah, big fan of her,
Yeah,
so.
I'm gonna rewatch that pretty soon. Oh man, that'd be
Yeah.
a fun movie club pick. John would hate it.
Oh, you should pick that.
Oh, is that still on Amazon? Because I'm sorry for anyone who's watching and was like, "What is Josh trying to do?" I wasn't going to use the internet on my computer because I didn't want to break the broadcast. So I was looking for something to watch. I don't know if it's on. I won't pick that. I'll pick that maybe another time. But I did find a movie. Kent, there was before I picked mine. Anything else that's new that you've had a chance to see that you give a thumbs up or a thumbs down to?
If you can find it, it's a little indie movie that, if it got some promotion, might actually could have turned out to be a hit. It's called Drunk Bus, and it's the story. is about a campus loop bus driver. He drives on Friday and Saturday night when all the kids are drunk, and he's one of these guys. I won't leave college kind of guy, right? And his girlfriend's broken his heart. He's kind of a sad sack kind of guy, and he gets punched out by one of the drunks, and so they assign him a bodyguard, and it's this giant Samoan dude with Maori tattoos and the thing, he can stick his tongue out through his lower, and it's pretty funny and pretty good. And it's called Drunk Bus.
Huh. All right. Is it streaming somewhere?
I think it is. It might be pay-per-view-ish streaming.
Okay.
You can rent it on Prime Video for $5.
Oh, that's
There
not
you
bad. Worth $5?
Worth $5, I thought. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sweet.
Kent, have you had a chance to see Pig?
Yes. I guess we didn't
Is it
talk
good?
about that.
Which
That's a
one was
very
That's,
that's an odd
Nicolas
little
Cage new
picture,
movie.
but it's pretty good.
Okay.
It's
I want to see that.
Nicolas Cage is a recluse, for lack of a better way to put it, who has a truffle finding pig. Somebody steals the pig, so he has to go into Portland. It's set in the Northwest, into the quote foodie community to try to get his pig back. And since he's this misanthrope that doesn't deal with people, that's part. It's a pretty good little movie. The other one, I guess I didn't mention this. If you're interested in the documentary, the movie about Anthony Bourdain is pretty good. It got some controversy because the Morgan Neville, the director, who's a good director, he made, I believe he made Super Size Me, among other documentaries.
Okay.
Used a computer to generate Bourdain's voice in a few places, right? He copied his voice, and then the computer generated the voice, and some people got real upset with it, but I actually didn't notice it when I watched it and then read about it, but that one's also worth seeing.
All right. So some new movies worth checking out. All right. It is my choice. I was scrolling on my phone. I found a movie. It is available on Netflix. So I know you have Netflix, and I think the majority of our audience has Netflix. We're going back into the 70s again, a movie that I saw in a history of film class in college, and I want to watch it as an adult. What did you think I was going to say?
I don't know.
Oh, Chinatown.
Oh, Lord, that's a great movie.
Yeah,
I think I've ever seen it.
I have not seen it in over a decade. I remember liking it, but being a little lukewarm to it. But I was also like 19 and a moron. So now I'm 32 and a moron. Maybe I'll like it more. I'm expecting I will.
I like it enough that I can tell you Jack Nicholson's character's name is Jake Geddes, Gittes. So there you go. That scene with him. The scene with him and John Huston is spectacular towards the.
I honestly, there's like one thing that I remember about the movie, just like a vague scene, like kind of that I have in my head. So I'm going to go in almost fresh.
Is it this movie? Is it this scene?
No, nope, not that one. Whatever that is, it's not that.
Where he. Oh, okay. You'll be surprised then if you don't remember.
All right. I'm looking forward to it. So that's available on Netflix. We will talk about it a week from today, the last Friday in July. That was Kent talking about Fast and the Furious. Kent, as always, thank you so much. Hope you have a great weekend. Oh, real quick, we didn't talk about Giannis in the NBA Finals. What a performance.
What a performance. I hope you'd realize, that I called that. No, Giannis, that Game 6 performance is one for the ages. I mean, he scored nearly half his team's points and won, and then they won and established himself. Now, I think you got to say he may be the best player in the league at this point.
Absolutely carried him for like that huge stretch where Milwaukee, I think the other players, there was a graphic at one point, they were like 2 of 19 and they were still in the game. Yeah. Absolutely incredible.
And he had some spectacular plays in that series, including those 2 blocks. He
has the game with the block, the game with the alley-oop, and then to put a cherry on top, he drops 50 in Game 6. Like he had memorable moments that like a player would kill for once in their career, and he had them 4 or 5 times across the same series.
And made what, 17 of 19 free throws or something
Yeah.
in that last
Yeah.
game. Yeah,
And they basically needed every single one.
It'll be interesting to see now this next year if all 3 of those guys are healthy, if Milwaukee can get back or not.
Yeah, it should make for a exciting next season. But before then, we'll have football. It's 5 weeks from tomorrow, Kent. The countdown is on.
5 weeks before the mighty Illini. One last comment here. Harvey Perlman has somehow become the great villain of Nebraska football. You know, people want to blame Harvey for killing Nebraska football. Harvey is also the guy that got Nebraska into the Big Ten. As the Big 12 implodes, give him a little credit for that, because just wait and see what happens to poor Kansas State. You know, Okie State, those kind of schools, because nobody wants them, right? They're not academically, they can't go. Big Ten will only take schools that are in the AAU, American Association Universities. If Texas and Oklahoma, I don't know, I'm sure Texas is, but if they go to the SEC, the only 2 Big 12 schools that remain that are in the AAU are Kansas and Iowa State. And
Incredible.
so if the Big Ten ends up taking 2 and stick with their policy, that's who it would have to be.
And everybody else suddenly is a mid-major school.
Yep. And now you're in the Mountain West. Have a good career.
Congrats on joining the Sun Belt, Baylor. He is Kent Wolgamott of the Lincoln Journal-Star. Chinatown is our pick for next week in the movie club. Kent, have an awesome weekend. Thank you so much.
See you next week.
I can't.
That was Kent Wolgamott. I think we made it through the movie club like the whole
looked fine
time.
to me.
I know that I hopped out a couple of times.
Did you just hop out now?
Yeah, it's just my computer is just not being able to handle everything.
Gotta end the broadcast
so,
first.
Yeah. Well, we're finishing up the segment.
George.
My phone is on fire.
Hey,
right now.
George.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I
So
would give you a
Chinatown,
charger, but it's he doesn't have an
Oh,
iPhone.
Yeah.
Chinatown. Why, you have a take?
No.
Oh, okay.
I honestly, I don't think I've even heard of it.
Oh, wow, really?
When I looked it up, I was surprised. but
Yeah.
I
It
don't
seems
know.
like a movie up your
I'm more of
alley.
a Big Trouble Little China guy, but
Oh.
I'll check out.
I do like
Chinatown.
that when you said that, that's what I thought of first was Big Trouble in Little China. Then I got excited.
You should pick that next time it's your pick.
I
That's a
already know what I'm
phenomenal
gonna
movie.
pick next,
Well,
and it
put it
will
on
be
the
a good
list.
movie.
Do you think that guests are not responding to Nick because his texts are green?
Definitely.
I think so too.
Oh yeah, that was a huge mistake.
Very
I think,
worried.
but
Weren't you just talking about how your Mac couldn't handle?
I'm running a lot of stuff right now, Nick. It's 1,000,000 degrees and the sun's on my computer.
yeah,
What
we
do
got
you
to
know what
change that.
wouldn't
this
have
next
that
break, by the
problem?
way.
a PC.
No,
Yeah.
if the sun, if
My Dell would work fine in the sun.
yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
Nick, if you're keeping us from getting great guests on the show because you won't pony up and get a better phone, that is going to be upsetting to me.